Hi everyone, this is Zohaib. Welcome to my YouTube channel Learning Edge Pro. And today in the part 7 of our video, we are going to create a form in which we will display a tax amount, all the taxes which will be applied, delivery charges, and the payable mode that how our client is going to pay from card or by cash. So let's implement that process. First of all, let's run the application to check what's the last thing we did. So as you can see, here's our POS application. So our menus are working perfectly fine. If I add any item, so it's displaying, but there are some alignment issues. So let's check them out. First of all, we will go to our close this. First of all, we will go to our main page.xml, and inside this, where it was, okay, here it is. So what's the issue was that the background color is repeating. So we just need to remove the background color of wheat from collection view because we have already defined into our grid, as you remember. After that, there were some issues in the buttons, so let's find it out. Where are the buttons? So here are the buttons. So inside these buttons, I'm going inside this grid, which is just specified for the buttons. Inside this, we are going to set their horizontal options to end so that our buttons are adjusted correctly. And I think all things are good. Okay, the last thing we just need to increase the font size because the font size was not good. So we will just do 18. Okay, let's run the application to check whether it's good or not. Okay, as you can see, our price is now bigger. Uh, my buttons are adjusted perfectly fine. They are working perfectly fine, but quantity is not updating. So we just need to do this thing that quantity automatically changes inside this bottom. So for that, we have to create that. Okay, let's close the application. Okay, now we will do a styling in total amount column. Okay, for that, we will just close our this grid column, and this vertical stack layout is just specified for our subtotal text amounted for buttons, as I've mentioned here. Okay, inside this, we will just create a border. In that border, we will add some padding of 10 and with the background color of white. Stroke shape should be round rectangle, like their radius should be more rounded. So we will adjust it by from 10 to 20, and the stroke thickness will be 0 because we don't need any outlinings. And after that, we will just create a shadow in the borderlet shadow property. Inside the shadow, we will give it a brush of maroon color and with a radius of 15. Okay, now our border shadow is also completed. After this, we will implement a grid inside which we will specify that in which column our subtotal amount, our price amount, and our text amount should be adjusted. For that, I'm going to open a column definition, spelling of 2 and 3. With row definitions, I need auto, auto, this one to be also auto. So we are now good. Okay, let's implement our label. Right now we are doing hard coding for just to check whether our UI is perfectly fine or not. After that, we will implement the logics. From that logics, our amount will automatically calculated. So I've created grid dot column, and inside this will be a div. Okay, so now I'm just going to hard code the subtotal. After the subtotal, I'm going to show my price of the subtotal inside the grid dot row 0 and the column to be 1 to be 2.99. Now we are good. Okay. The last thing, I'm just going to add a padding here also of 15 and 15 and 0. Okay, let's run the application to check whether it's good or not. Okay, as you can see, our border is here and it's perfectly fine, but I can't see my values. Okay, it might be of the text color. Okay, let's define the text color here. Text color to be black, and also here text color to be black. Okay, now we are good. Now check, as you can see, subtotal and our price is also showing. Okay, now we just have to implement tax amount, total amount after tax and the buttons. So it will come in another row, and beside the row in the particular column, our price will be shown. Okay, so let's close this. After this, I'm just going to use the resource for label and text up here, which will be defined at content page, content page dot not content. It will be resources, because I'm now going to globally define these things. Resource dictionary. Then we will do a style here, and the style, the target type will be label of label, and inside the label I'm going to set it to property of, and the value. uh okay, now here the property will be set, and in the value section the value will be set. So for now I'm just going to give it a property of text color, which should be black. Okay, now if I do the styling here and do the static resource and use my label key as label and run the application to check whether it's properly doing the styling or not. Okay, as you can see, our black color is now implemented again. If I set that to bold, okay, just copy this, set another property font attributes, and set it to bold. I have saved this. As you can see, my subtotal is bold, so that means our resource library is globally defined and I can use whenever I want. So let's close the application. After this, I'm going to design a horizontal stack layout here, just below the label, horizontal stack layout, which will be using the grid.raw1 and grid.column 0 with spacing of 5. Okay. Here I am going to insert my text and my text percentage, which can be adjusted according to your needs. So for that, I'm going to create a horizontal stack layout for that. Inside this, I'm going to use a label of text, where text should be shown with the vertical options of center. And after this, I'm going to show a percentage with padding of 5,0, background color to be wheat, and text should be 0 with a percentage sign, and vertical options should also be a center. Okay, now we are good. Now I just have to rate the price of the text hard coded. So grid.raw and the grid.raw raw one with the column 1. I am going to give the text value of 2.99. So now we are good. We have completed this. Okay, what's remaining is that now we have to create a dotted lines to determine the actual amount things and to differ between the total amount things and to also differentiate between the buttons. So for that we have to create a dotted lines. So I'm going to create a border with grid.raw2 with the span of column 2. Stroke to be maroon, I guess. Okay, uh, maroon. Yeah, remember that the brush was not looking good, so we will set it to green, or might be yellow. I will check it later. Okay, stroke to maroon, stroke hash array, because we needed dotted lines. For that, I'm going to use a dash array 25, and the thickness of that is to be 0.5. So now we are good. I think my dotted line should be implemented perfectly. So let's check it out. Okay, as you can see, my dotted line is perfectly fine. Okay, again, now my text is not showing here. So for that, I'm just have to use the library again. Okay, that's the date and time issue, so no worries. Just close the application. I'm going to style it, not style. It will be defined a text color of black, and I have to give it a styling of static resource label. Copy this thing and paste it here also. So we will be now good. Why it is giving an error? Okay, I've used by mistake this. After this, we just have to create an other row for our total amount, which will be labeled with grid.raw b, column to be 0, grid.column to be 0, and styling. Okay, we have copied the styling, so we will just paste it here, and it should be, it's perfectly fine. After this, I'm going to define a value for that label grid.draw3 grid dot column to be 1 and the text to be 2.99. So now we are good. All the things are done. Now we just have to create a buttons for that. But before that, I just run the application to check if all things are in their perfect position or not. Okay, as you can see, all things are good, but these are just so congested. So let's give them some spacing here. For that, I just have to use the spacing of row spacing of 10. Let's check it again. Okay, so now it's spaced. Okay, think the values are so close here. So I just need to give some space also. So for that, I will just give it to auto in auto. Okay, so now I think I am good. Okay, so let's check the our POS application. Okay, as you can see, it's now working perfectly fine. Our borders are in shape. If we add our any menu item, it's perfectly fine. We can increase the quantity, we can decrease this. So all the things are working very perfectly fine. So let's close the application. Okay, so I've closed this. After the total text amount, I am just going to implement the dash thing here. So we will just copy the thing, copy, and we'll just paste it here. Okay. After this, I'm going to use a grid. It will be grid.raw 5 for the buttons with the span of column span of 2 and the column definitions to be auto. First one will be for the cancel and the second one will be for the amount to be paid by. So now we are done. Okay, so now after this, I will just create a button. And first one will be in a grid column 0, background color to be red. This is the button for the cancellation of the cart thing. So the height of the button and the minimum width of the button should be 5, and the text to enter will be capital X. So now I'm done. After this, we will just copy this thing, paste it here. Okay, so now I'm good. Okay. Only the columns will be changed. So this will be column 2 and this will be column 3. The color I'm going to give will be olive, olive. Okay, so now we are good. Minimum height is also perfectly fine. Just what needs to be changed is just the text. First one will be paid by cash and second will be paid by online. So now I'm good. Okay. The last thing which I need to set is column spacing, which needs to be of 5. Okay, I've used it here, column directly after the 0, 2 and 3. The 1 is missing. So the 1 will be for the gap. So we just need to implement a full thing here to just give some space between the cancellation button and the amount to be paid buttons. So now we are good. Now just run the application to check if it's working or not. Okay, it's so congested, but it is not good. Okay, let's cancel this and check it out. What's the issue? Okay, as you can see, I have closed the grid here because that's why our element was out. So let's run the application again. Now it should work perfectly fine. As you can see, now our buttons are in perfect position. Only the text to be changed to white and the total amount is not showing. So we just need to show that. And I can also see that my borderline is also not showing. So let's check what's the issue here. Cancel the application. Go to here. Okay. Text color to be white. Copy the text color again. Oh, sorry. Copy the text color here. Paste it here. Now we are good. What's the last thing to implement? Yeah, the borderline was not showing, so we have copied pasted directly. We have not changed the grid.raw. Now it should work perfectly fine. Continue our post application. As you can see now, all the things are working perfectly fine and are in their position. The only thing is not showing is the total amount because of the text color. I just need to set that. Rest of the things are working perfectly fine and good. Okay, let's quickly close the application. Okay, so now let's give some spaces to padding inside our current datetime control because it was not looking good. So inside the vertical stack layout, I'm going to give a padding of 0, and after this, inside the grid, I'm going to give a padding of 0, 10. And last but not least, I'm going to give the row spacing where it is here of 8 because it was too much spacing in between the rows. After this, I will just adjust the amount field for the every amount. So where are the amounts? So here. First of all, I'm going to set this horizontal options to center, and we'll just copy this thing and we'll paste it to every amount where I've defined. Enter, and where I've defined the amount here. Okay, here. Yes, I've defined 3 times the amount. So now let's change the text color here. to black. Now I think I'm good. After this, now we will just create a logics in our home view model for the subtotal text percentage, text amount, and the total amount after text. So let's create that. First of all, I will open my home view model, and inside this, I'm going to create an observable property, where I'm going to define my private decimal of subtotal. I think this is good. After this, I'm going to create another observable property, and inside this, I'm going to create a private integer where I will define my text percentage. Last but not least, I'm just going to create a logic for the x amount, which needs to be calculated through subtotal into x percentage and needs to be divided by 100. Okay, so now I think we are good. No, the last thing is will be the total amount after tax. So for that, I'm going to create a total. Inside the total, I'm going to add the subtotal plus the x amount, which we calculated. So now our all logics are completed. Okay, this subtotal and tax percentage will automatically change and calculated. What's the issue? Okay, will automatically change and calculated whenever we increase or decrease the quantity of our menu item. For that, we are going to define a notify property change for. Okay, I'm using notify, not I notify property change for. Okay, this will be name of X amount. Okay, it is referring the text amount. And after this, I am going to notify it for notify property change for the name of total. So it will directly reflect the total amount and text amount also. I will just copy these two things and we'll exactly paste it here. Now we are good. After this, we're just going to create a method for it. Okay, we will create a method here, I guess. Yeah, we will create it here. And the name of the method will be a private void recalculate. Okay, no. Okay, we have created a method here. In this method, I'm going to total where our subtotal will be calculated from will be sum of the amount of all the items. So now we are good. We just need to call the recalculate amount methods like whenever we increase the quantity of the menu item. So it will automatically recalculate the amounts in the text and inside the subtotal and also for the total. So for that, just need to copy my recalculate method and just need to paste it inside the increase quantity. Okay, increase quantity, it is not. Okay, we will just remove this and we will make it card items. Oh, sorry, card item. It will be a card item for quantity, which will be increasing. After this, we will call this method. Okay. After this, I'm just going to define it here also. And after the decrease amount also, whenever the amount get decreased, it will recalculate the amount. After this, I also going to call it here, the remove item. First of all, remove these things, create card items, dot remove card item, and after that we will recalculate the amount here. And same goes for the decreasing quantity. After this, I am just going to create an other collect card items collection, change constructor inside our home model. So let's create that. Just below this, I'm just going to create my constructor, private. Okay, it will also be generated directly by defining it here, card items, collection changed equals to card items underscore collection changed. Okay, so now I've created this. Now let's create the method for it. As you can see, the method is all automatically created. In this method, I am just going to call my recalculate amount method. Okay, so now we are good. Like this method, why I've created this method is because it will be executed whenever we are adding any item to the cart or removing item from the cart or clearing the cart. It will directly recalculate all the amounts. So that's why I've created this. Okay, after this, I am going to implement. Okay, let's shift this method. Not here. It will be calculated right after the quantity. And for the decreasing quantity, I am going to make an if condition here, else recalculate amount. Okay, so now I think I'm good. For the remove item card, I think I messed up something. Okay, let's remove this. After this, I'm going to call the card items dot remove that. For example, we don't need to call it here because whenever the card item is all the card items removed, so the automatically the value calculated will be null. So we have defined it here. After this, we will replace the hard-coded value with binding functions in main page.xml. So let's go to our XML page. Okay, I will just go to my main page.xml, and here I am just going to define the hard-coded text by binding. So first of all, I'm going to check my uh, text percentage where I've defined that. Okay, here is our text percentage. So for that, I'm just going to remove this and we'll bind it for percentage with the string format of percentage. So I think we are good. After this, I am just going to uh, calculate my text amount here inside this binding with text amount with a string format currency. I have also defined it inside my menu items, so you can also copy it from there. Okay, so now we are good. Now I just need to copy this string format because it will be needed again and again. So we're just going to implement it here also, binding with total with the string format of this. And last but not least, it will be a subtotal. Uh, it will be binding with subtotal. Okay, so now we are good. We are we are good. Now we just run our application to check whether our prices are getting updated or not. Why it is giving so much errors? Let me check. Padding is set more than once. Padding is, oh yes, I have set it the padding more than once here. Move it. What's another error? Padding is done, completed. Initialize component, there is no issue in that. Okay, let's clean the project one time and we will just rebuild it again. Okay, we have rebuilt our application. Now let's run the application. So as you can see right now, the amount is 0, 0, 0. So let's add this. As you can see, the subtotal is automatically increased and the total amount is already set. Right now, we cannot select the text amount because we have not created a prompt for that. Okay, let's increase the quantity. As you can see, whenever I'm increasing the quantity, it is by default changing my values, which means it's working perfectly fine. If you remove this, as you can see, the total is getting changed. So these functions are working perfectly fine. Now we just need to prompt a text percentage click. So for that, I'm going to my home model. And here, after recalculating amount, okay, before that, I just need to create a relay command for a private async method for the task x percentage click async. So this will be our method from where we are going to call our percentage prompt. So here we will just for our variable result, which we will type or select at which certain percentage should be applied on the current subtotal dot current. After that, we will display the prompt. Inside the prompt, we will just display that text percentage label. And after this, we are just going to send our placeholder that what user needs to enter in that placeholder. Enter the applicable percentage. After this, the placeholder will be by default set to 10 and the initial value. Okay, wait a second. Let me, initial value will be at x percentage dot to string. Okay, so now we are good. After this, we will just create our if condition here that if string not equals to is not, if not or null or empty, then the result will be okay. Okay, so now we are setting the conditions that user can only set the text percentage within the limit. He cannot cross the limit above 100 or below 0 because it will not be accepted. So for that, I'm going to set the conditions here. If condition. So for that, I'm again using the if int dot try parse. The result will be out int entered x percentage. Have typed the wrong thing. Let's copy this. Now we are good. We will just close another bracket for that. And after this, I am going to create a condition await shell dot current that if the value is not correct, so it will not be accepted. Invalid value. After this, I'm going to give them a chance to enter another value again. Percentage is invalid. So the user will only press OK. So now I think we're good. After this, I'm going to just return the value. Okay, now we will just create another if condition. Okay, okay, now all the things are set perfectly. If entered, oh, and the text percentage value is greater than 100, then again the prompt box will open. Why it is getting back? Okay, so now the prompt will open shell dot current dot display alert, and it will also say invalid value. Okay, let's copy this. Hit here value. Enter text percentage is invalid. So I think we are now good. We will just return this. Okay, so now we are absolutely perfectly fine. After this, I am just going to store the text percentage into enter text percentage. So now our method is perfectly fine. Okay, where it is expecting over here. So we have not added the semicolon for that. Now I think we are good. Now after this, we just need to add the label gestures of tapping onto the text percentage button to open the prompt. So for that, we need to go to our main page.xml, and here where it was, I think here it is. So we just need to tap here to open our text amount box. Okay, so now just give them a closing bracket for label, and inside this label we are going to create a label dot not textual label dot gesture recognizer. And inside this we will use a type gesture recognizer. We should be using a command. Should be binding with okay, let's check it from here. Percentage click async. So this will be our method percentage click command. So now we are good. It needs to be working perfectly fine. Okay, before that we just need to create the last method, which will be of a clear card, just to clear the card. For that I'm going to go back to my home view model, and inside here I'm just going to create a private void for the clear card, and in this I'm going to use card items dot clear. Whenever user press that red clear button, so all the items from the card to be cleared perfectly fine. So for that I am just going to give it a relay command, and inside the main page where it was, okay, here it was, I think here, or where it was, here, this is the button. So I'm just going to bind it with the command of binding clear card command. So now we are good. Our clear card is also working perfectly fine. And now let's run our POS application to check whether it's working fine or not. As you can see, this is our POS application, and whenever I add any of the items, so the pricing is getting updated. If I click the text percentage box, as you can see, the prompt is now open. Now here I will enter my percentage amount, 10%. You can see certain value percentage text is applied on this, and the total value is changed. If I click on the clear card button, so you can see all the items from the card are removed. So that's it. I hope you liked the video. For more upcoming videos, kindly press the subscribe button, press the bell icon so you will never miss an update. Thanks for watching.